plaintiff, Keith Hudson, says when he moved to Chicago from Louisiana, everything was great until he started having issues with his neighbor, the defendant. Keith claims the defendant not only damaged some of his planters, but she also dirtied his car and killed one of his rose bushes, so he's suing. Defendant Mia Portis admits that she's had some run-ins with Keith, but insists she has never done anything malicious. Mia's countersuing for harassment because she claims Keith not only threatened to harm her property, but he also threatened to harm her.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Your Honor, in 2014, I was involved in a near-fatal automobile accident with an 18-wheeler, and I'm just fortunate to be alive in Louisiana. So during that time frame, I started receiving steroid injections, which caused me to pick up a couple of pounds. So the doctors advised me at that point in time to lose a few pounds before having back surgery. And I'm happy to report that I lost over 50 pounds and been able to maintain that weight loss. In 2016, I moved from New Orleans, Louisiana to Chicago, Illinois for two reasons. One, because I knew Chicago was a city I could move around using the transit system because I no longer wanted to drive. And two, it was a better team of doctors I could choose for having back surgery.
And three, he loves cold weather.
Absolutely, absolutely. So things were going well. I had my back surgery. Things were really going well. It felt like a new lease on life. And then in February of 2019, I purchased a new home. And again, things were going well until my neighbor, Mia Portis, and I began to have problems.
Ruin your life. Everything was going fine.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Till she wouldn't go with you. Go ahead.
There were a couple of incidents that happened.
No, I know. Go ahead, sir.
There was a couple of incidents that happened. First, it was I had in April of 2019, I had placed 8 potters on my back balconies. During that time frame, the planters, they didn't have holes in them. And I purposely got them that way because, you know, there's a neighbor underneath of me and I didn't want any watering to drain when I watered my plants. Well, one day I came home from work, Mia Portis told me that she and another neighbor had drilled holes in my planters. Didn't ask them to do so, they just did it on their own.
Why did they say they did it?
For drainage, proper drainage of the water.
So they were helping you? Or competing for you?
Well, they were, I'm not for sure either, sir. I purposely bought the planters so that they wouldn't drain onto the property underneath me. And eventually—
What was the next problem you had?
So the next problem was then in late June of 2019, I had just detailed my own car. I cleaned it out totally because I was going to take my first road trip. And I was going to try to drive to Memphis, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And so I was getting prepared for this trip. I cleaned out the car and everything, and I left the top down. And I hardly ever used my car. And so the day for my trip, I went out into the garage. I put my stuff in the car, got on the road, and noticed that my vehicle had dirt all over it, on the inside, outside, every place. Just a dusting of dirt.
You had plants in there?
No, sir, I didn't.
She had something to do with it, you suspect?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me get some background from you and then I'll get back to you on the specifics.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am?
Well, I am a teacher. I have a stressful position, demanding position. So when I come home, I'm trying to live the opposite life. I purchased in November. 3 months later, he purchased. I was very happy when he moved in. We were definitely neighborly. In the sense that I took packages for him. He came over my house and drilled a hole for me. We exchanged pleasantries. We didn't have any problems. He is right. The problems did start with the drainage of the plant and the layer of dust.
So what was that
car.
about, the plant?
So what happened was I was in the backyard of the neighbor he's speaking about. They're both gardening enthusiasts. So she has bad knees. So she asked me to go on, we share a long balcony. She asked me to go get the planters, and she was going to drill holes. I was excited. We all got along. I thought, as you said, she's doing him a favor. They both know a lot about gardening. I went and got the planters for her. So he's right. When he came home, I was excited. And I said, hey, the neighbor drilled the holes in it because she said you didn't have any holes. And I did notice he was way less than enthusiastic. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, oh, thanks. And I just, you know, walked away because I could see he didn't really appreciate.
Yeah, they had broke up by then.
Yeah, so, so then he is right. I did sweep the garage.
And you had busted him. He really was winking at you, and you had busted him all together. First you come
I'm gonna say
first you find out he ain't going with her no more. Now you're acting that way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, definitely not.
Right.
So I did. He is right. I did get his car dirty. It wasn't anything malicious.
Give me the specifics of the car.
I discovered it was dirty on my first stop, and on the road and everything. And my clothing was dirty, and I was just frustrated because I knew I had cleaned my vehicle out, and I hadn't been in it for 2 weeks because I'm really nervous about driving. So when I got back home, I looked in the garage. There could only be two issues: either I took the car out and it got dirty, or it got dirty in the garage. And so I looked at her side and it was clean, and my other neighbor and my side was dirty. So I assumed that she swept her side of the garage, and I leave my top down, so easy access. It's a convertible, Your Honor. And so easy access to, just get in and go. I had to get a full detail in Memphis for $189. So then next to the next issue is then in November of 2019, I brought in my rose bushes from the outside to bring into the garage.
November 19, you say you got plenty of money. Brought you a Rolls Royce, all right.
No, sir, not a Rolls Royce. A rose bush.
Oh, I thought you said you bought a rose and put it in your garage.
No, remember, I'm a plant enthusiast.
That's what I say. You might well something going on there. I don't know what you planting. You can't get that off weed plants.
Right.
You had to have you had to have coca plant to get your Rolls Royce and be laid off for not working. Okay, but you did say in the garage, so I ain't crazy. Go ahead. You put your rose
bushes.
R-O-S-E.
Yes.
Not R-O-L-L-S.
There you go.
All right, in the garage.
Yes, sir. And I had two rose bushes. I
bet you get women off that, don't you? Hey, baby, I got a rose in the garage.
There you
go. they get that. Let me see this Rolls Royce you got in the garage. That's after things happen, huh?
There you go.
I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you later on. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Your Honor.
You put your rolls in the garage. What was the purpose of?
So just so that, because they were new, they weren't strong enough to survive the winter here in Chicago, I thought. So I brought them in and I put one on each side of the garage. Now I'm in the center of the garage, so I have the center parking space, and I really don't have any storage, but at the back of the door. And so I put one on each side, so not to inconvenience one person, but it was just one on each side. Miss Porter then started taking it upon herself to move that plant on her side. Well, it wasn't on her side, but near her side of the garage.
So what damage was done?
So the rosebush died. It would never, when I brought it out this year, it never lived again.
And you attribute that to
Miss Porter's moving it back and forth. Plants don't like to be moved a lot.
All right. Ma'am,
so
tell me about the dirt. It sounds like I heard you about to admit to that. What happened there? So the first
issue with the dirt, I was in my garage doing something, and I realized it was just really dirty. So I pulled my car into the alley. It was a summer day, and I swept my garage. And he didn't have he had his windows up. He did have his top dropped. I have a push broom, and I was painstakingly sweeping. It wasn't anything malicious, and I was just cleaning my garage. So I heard the the plaintiff and the neighbor, he was furious about something about his car. And when I listened more, I said, oh shoot, I must have gotten his car dirty. So I caught him on his back balcony one day, and I said, hey, I was listening to my ring and you were really upset about your car being dirty. I was like, did I get your car dirty? I said, if I got your car dirty, let me pay for it. I'll pay for it to get it cleaned. He refused any kind of conversation. I was like, I'm trying to talk to you. I can't talk to you right now. He's shaking, he's so angry. And I'm like, well, cool, okay, then I go downstairs and go about my merry way.
What about the rose?
On page 19 is what the space looks like when his car is not there. Page 17 is what it looks, this is the space that I have to travel to get to my car. So I don't have hardly any space. And prior to this bag being on there, he just had the rosebush.
You all have mutual use of the garage.
Yeah, so where that door is, that is his space. And he doesn't have any space to store.
He stored the rose within his zone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And actually, he is right. I did move it. But I never pick it up because half the time, as you can see on page 19, the thorns are sticking out. And he waters it a lot.
How did you move it then?
So when I moved it, I'll move it, you know, with my coat or with my foot, just moving it back.
What did you say when he approached you about the rose?
He never approached me.
Sir, you never said anything to her about this rose?
Yes and no, sir. Can I
Sure, go right
elaborate?
ahead.
So let's go back to the issue with the vehicle being damaged from her first sweeping.
From the dirt.
From the dirt. So she is correct. She did approach me one day after work in August. And she is correct. She stated that she overheard the conversation between the other neighbor and myself. I was asking my other neighbors for some friendly advice on how to approach the situation with Mrs. Portis. I thought my other neighbor was impartial enough to keep that conversation private. She immediately told Ms. Portis. And I wasn't ready to deal with her and that issue at that point in time because my family, there was a hurricane in New Orleans at that point in time, and I was really busy trying to help them.
And that was when?
This was in August, somewhere early August of 2019.
When did you become interested in talking to her about it?
No, she is correct. She did approach me on the back porch one day, coming home from work, and she said, Keith, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, sure. She said, well, you know, I hear you've been complaining. And I said, hold up for a second. I said, already, you're coming to me incorrectly. Okay. I said, the problem is not about me complaining to someone else. The problem is that you're going into the garage doing anything and everything that you feel you want to do. But this is a shared space and you can't just do whatever you want to do.
So she didn't mention the rose specifically?
This was about the car and we never had a conversation regarding the rose at all.
That's what I'm saying, ever. We
did in the garage. One day we had
said we never had a conversation about the rose at all. When I say ever, you say, well, we did have one.
Okay, yes, sir, we did eventually. After she had,
ever, that's what that means.
Yes, we did. After she had moved it a couple of times and I just got so frustrated, I waited for her in the garage. This is early February of 2020. I waited in the garage and I said, and I moved some her boxes in the center of her parking space. So when she came in the garage, she bumped into her own boxes. And then she said, can I ask you, why are you moving my items? I said, I would like to ask you that same question.
Sir, do you have any evidence of what her moving the rose would do to it? I have no idea whether picking up a rose, putting it somewhere else, would cause it to die.
Yes,
I just don't know that to be the case.
No, I didn't bring any evidence, no, sir.
All right, and the counterclaim for harassment, what did he do to you?
So that day with the boxes, when I came home, I was backing into the garage, and he had placed those boxes in the middle of my garage so I couldn't back in. And I said, hey, you've been moving my stuff. Please stop moving my things. Why are you moving my stuff? And then I said, are you still upset about me getting your car dirty? Dude, I'll pay for you. I asked him the second time. I said, dude, I'll pay to get your car rewash. Stop moving my stuff. That's when he went into B, stop talking to me. I don't even like your A. And then he said, I'll you and all this S up. And And I said, oh, you crazy, I'm leaving. That's literally what I said to him, and I left out of the garage, because if somebody tell you they're gonna you up, I believe you.
How much was the car? Was it for the detailing?
Yes, sir. So I had to, it was $200.
You have anything? Did you give me a receipt?
Yes,
on
sir.
that?
There is a receipt. It is, I also had to get a police report done on page 10.
Can I just have the
Okay.
receipt for the car? Nobody
The receipt
listening
is
to
on
all
page
this
8, Your Honor.
nonsense. Somebody moving a box, moving the rolls, and y'all come in here want thousands of dollars for it. What do you have?
On page 8, Your Honor.
She moved my roll, give me 8,000. He moved my box, give me 5,000. Give you this $100. What did it cost for the detail? $254, sir?
No, it's $200.
Okay, that's your
Page 8.
judgment. $200. This is over. This is over. This is move yourself out of here. Y'all like moving so much. Move that. All right. Have a good day.